Perfectionist. Noun. A person who holds themselves to impossibly high standards, therefore refusing to accept any standard short of perfections.
So back when I was a teenager, I was insecure about my appearance. I had a lot of acne during that time. Whenever I used to look my face on the mirror, I felt a certain sense of dissatisfaction that I was not good enough. I don't know why I felt like that. And man, I was so much obsessed about my acne that I used to spend minutes or maybe hours popping out my acne right in front of the mirror. And the aftermath of that little surgery I used to do, my face used to look like Patrick Batesman with whole beard covered in the face. But the only difference was he was naked and I was not. And it got so much bad at one point that even my mother got freaked out for once, and she asked me that whether I blamed myself or not. I was so much insecure that I was literally limiting my life. I rarely attended any events, rarely meet up with my friends, which impacted my relationship with many people obviously. Now in hindsight, I started to understand myself. My whole mentality was, I want to be perfect looking, and if I'm not, I don't deserve anything in this life, which was a fucked up way to think about. But before I noticed this toxic trait of mine, it's unfortunately started plaguing in other aspects of my life as well, from my work ethics to my creativity and my hobbies as well. So perfectionism ruined my experience with my hobbies as well. I can still recall a specific moment when I wanted to play this one video game called Witcher 3. I was really excited to play that game. I decided that I'm going to play that game the very next day. But that next day turned into weeks, and that weeks turned into months, and ultimately I forgot to even play that game. What exactly happened right there? I loved that game, but why I refused to play it and procrastinated that activity? Well, because I was always waiting for that moment where I would not be lethargic, that moment when I would have no mess happening in my life, waiting for that perfect moment to occur. But that moment never occurred, and so did my experience of playing that new game. So this exact pattern happens in other hobbies as well. For instance, there were three things I wanted to do. First of all, it was traveling. I decided that I'm going to visit many places in India for the very first time, but I didn't. Second, I wanted to learn a new language, but I procrastinated it intentionally because I was just waiting for that perfect moment which I was talking about earlier. And number third, I wanted to learn to play some guitar, but I failed at it miserably because I was continuously waiting for that perfect moment. Now, perfectionism severely affects in my work field as well. Constant self-doubt, procrastination, and delaying to finish the work even if it was possible to finish that within days. Perfection also influenced my creativity. I always judge my ideas to such an extent that at some point it feels like unfeasible to even attain. I hold such a high standard towards my craft. It's not like a humble brag or something, but it's just my perfectionist side is detail oriented. I have scrapped so many videos just because I was not satisfied by it. And that's the exact reason why I took so many months to upload any video. So first of all, I wait for that perfect moment, and when I actually sit down for my work, I judge myself till such an extent that I quit on the project within hours. Now there is a certain cycle of perfection that I have noticed I follow every time. I feel motivated to do something, then I go into the all or nothing mindset. I need to do the work which I am doing perfectly because it's my ego. I want to show people how much skillful am I. Next, I focus way too much on the flaws, and eventually I lose the interest to even complete one project. Afterwards, I try to push myself, try to negotiate with myself that yeah, I can do this. I just try to keep myself on the edge, but after some time I feel burnt out. Furthermore, the self-doubt increases. I feel overwhelmed. I feel depressed, thinking what a failure am I, that I can't even complete this simple task. And in the end, I feel motivated again to do something, and that cycle continues. You know what's the biggest thing I'm afraid of? Failure. Failure is this only one thing which comes into my mind whenever I try to do something new in my life. That's the reason why I chase perfection. Because I'm so much frightened to see the consequences of failure. Whenever I try to do something new, I have two options. I would either reach perfection or I would not complete that task. And what do I used to do? The latter one. But over the time, I have accepted the fact that failure is gonna happen during the process in everything I do. And it's gonna happen a lot of times. But I should not feel dwell about it. In order to succeed, you have to embrace failure. Because you are going to mess up, I'm going to mess up, and everyone else is going to mess up as well. At the end of the day, we are human beings. That's what we do. We make mistakes and we improve on them.